So I'm just saying. John Monroe says, I know why it gets hot in the studio because Alyssa's in the room. Oh, yes, you radiate so much heat. So much heat. So, yeah. Listen, it's time. And I'm actually paying homage to this person that I'm going to have on right now because he's actually turned his show into an all interview show. Like there's no more calling in by guests or fans or anything. I'm completely. It's like you can't even call in because not only one, you shouldn't call in because the damn interviews are so freaking awesome, and number two, there's just so much going on the show. So, I'm taking homage because I'm actually going to try to turn the show into more of an interview show. That gives me less to, worry about Alyssa. Although I do have news that Mo, who was a character on the show or is a guest co-host on the show, may be coming back on Wednesdays, which is exciting. And I kind of hope for that because he was entertaining on the show, and me and him like to throw jabs. And let's just put it this way: we would fight more, and it would be funny more than me and Alyssa, just me and Alyssa. So.
Are you trying to say I'm boring?
I am not saying that at all, although
you definitely
I am not. No, not at all. I would never do that to you whatsoever.
You're saying I'm boring.
I am not saying you're boring. I'm not. Just make sure you have good news for tonight. That's all. All right. Joining us on the show right now, he's located up there in very cold New Hampshire. He lives in an igloo. No, I'm kidding. But he is...
Better than a pineapple under the sea.
Oh, working at the Krusty Krab, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't even do that if I tried. He is actually the host on 95.3 WMNH in New Hampshire. According to one specific Joe, is just a little private broadcasting joint. But at the same time, he has his own 3-hour show every Saturday. He interviews musicians. He interviews politicians, mayors, everybody on that show. It's great. Every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon on WMNH up there in New Hampshire. He is also a hypnotherapist. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you, as soon as I can get to the button, Matt Connarton. Welcome, sir.
Well, hello, Charles, and hello, Alyssa. Nice to see you both.
Hello.
So, Mr. Connarton,
Yeah.
I understand you over here talking on your show that you were going to go ahead and hypnotize me. That's what you were saying on the show.
That's up to you, sir, if you'd like to be hypnotized.
I don't know if I'm ready for that here.
But if you notice, I'm already speaking in my hypnotist voice.
You are.
I'm speaking in a very soothing tone.
I'm getting very sleepy.
Is my mic okay?
It sounds good from here.
Okay, I'm using a Yeti.
You're using a Yeti?
A Yeti microphone.
Oh, okay. One of the condensers?
Yeah, which I'm going to get something else shortly as I continue to do more content from home. But for right now, I'm using this. And yeah, it seems to be okay, I guess.
Yeah. You come through okay. You're coming through okay for me. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
I was worried about that.
Let's dive right into the hard-hitting topic that we all want to hear about. I mean, it's something that it's like this big elephant in the room besides me. I mean, I'm already a big elephant as it is. But the other elephant in the room.
Oh, I love your shirt, by the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to say that. I'm a big CM Punk fan.
That's okay. That's okay.
Isn't that probably why you wore it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, very nice.
So the big elephant in the room is, how'd you like the Royal Rumble?
I liked it very much.
I'm just curious because I know you're an AEW fan. I am not an AEW fan.
I'm not even so much. Yeah, I'm not even so much an AEW fan. I just I like if I see some chatter online about a Will Ospreay match, for example, I'll go find it and watch it. And Jenny and I will watch it because we're fans of specific people in AEW. We don't really watch it though, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Oh. I'm over here. It's like, you probably get into because you at one point in time when you were doing Monday through Friday, you were talking about AEW and how it's far superior than WWE. That's up until Vince left, and then you kind of like what they're doing over there a little bit. So have you seen
now?
much?
Have
you seen a lot of change for the better with WWE storytelling?
Oh, absolutely. Triple H has restored WWE to its former glory. Vince obviously was out of touch and had been for a very long time. And Triple H's commitment to long-term storytelling has really turned things around. And I can tell you too, and I said this to Eric Pilcher on a podcast because, he's also a big wrestling fan. I cannot, I've been watching it since I was probably 11, 12 years old. I cannot remember a time where we've seen the degree of character development that we see now. You take, CM Punk or Drew McIntyre, where you see really levels of character development and they're able to tell more complex stories because of it. And I think it's better than it's ever been. I'm very impressed, but I think that's all Triple H. Vince had lost any discipline or ability to do that long-term storytelling and to really develop these characters. I don't think Vince thought that fans cared about having complex, thoroughly developed characters, but we do. Clearly we do. Look at the success that they're having. And Triple H really understands it. And he gets it. And by the way, Triple H is a New Hampshire guy. He's from Nashua, New Hampshire originally. So, so of course I'm also loyal to him because of that.
You got to go ahead and give him the kudos there because he's from Nashua. I get it. It's okay. Listen, you get a hometown hero. You got to go ahead and gush over him a little bit. So absolutely.
That's
right. Vince was all about the gimmicks and this is going to get some cheap heat or get some laughs or let's poke fun at JR and stuff like that. He never, you're right. He's been out of touch for a long time, and Triple H coming in, whether the numbers that he points out every press conference are inflated or whatever, I think this company is the best it's ever been. The Netflix deal is just prone to that. So I definitely think it's going in the right direction. And now that Cena is retiring, he's going to have the question is, what do you do at Cena with his last year? Do you get him the 17th title? Do you go ahead and just put on a good show like the humble Cena he is? He's always been willing to go ahead and put other talent over, especially later in his career. Early in his career, he was known as burying talent. But now, what do you do at Cena? Do you go ahead and give him that 17th belt? I don't see him headlining WrestleMania, but I also see him maybe winning a belt one more time.
I don't know. I think you can tell a compelling story with Cena just all in the chase, but him ultimately falling short because he's putting somebody over who is going to be continuing into the future. Because Cena is humble that way. Maybe he wasn't always, of course, but he seems to be now. And I think you can tell a compelling story with John Cena of him going for number 17, but not quite getting it, because I don't think he needs. I think his legacy in the minds of fans will actually be stronger if he puts somebody over on his way to trying to get to 17, if that makes sense. I don't think he needs that 17th. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think kind of like how CM Punk doesn't need the Royal Rumble, and he didn't get it because of that. I think he will make a way to main eventing WrestleMania, but not through the Royal Rumble. And that's obvious now. But at the same time, I don't think he needs it. Same thing like you said. I don't think Cena needs a 17th belt. And I'd be very non-surprised if he goes through this whole year, maybe never winning a match. I think he could go ahead and lose by the skinny of his teeth on every single one. Just how he would win by the skin of his teeth, being Super Cena. I could see it being the opposite way to end his career.
Right, because what matters is the story. It's not whether he's winning or losing. It's telling a compelling story to finish out his career in WWE. And as long as you can do, and I have faith that Triple H can do that.
Of course,
that's what really matters.
Yeah, definitely. This whole matter between, and I don't know if you how much you followed it. If it's not, let me know. The Roman, Seth, CM Punk storyline. Now that there's a triangle going ahead, and I see this one being a triple threat somewhere down the line. I don't think it's Rumble. I don't think it's Mania. Could be Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. That bums me out though in one sense. I mean I like that these three characters, and again they're so intertwined and so well developed, which I love. I am so tired though of triple threat matches. It's one thing when they were rare, but now they happen so often. It's like it's not special anymore. It's like when somebody puts somebody through the announce table. It's like, oh my God, I want them to go an entire year without them doing that spot.
Yeah.
Because it's so overdone. Yeah, I'm sick of triple threat matches, so I'm not excited about that. I'm more excited for the promos that go on between the three of them than I am for any actual triple threat match, because they're all such compelling characters,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if you watched the ladder match with Cody and KO. Man, it's getting more and more brutal out there. It's more and more brutal. It is just, I was looking at some of these bumps that Cody and KO were taking, not counting the last one where KO was basically carried out of that arena. But I'm talking about just how do you not have a chiropractor standing by underneath the ring or in the back? It's just like, okay, we know you screwed up your back. Let's go ahead and fix this now because we know it's messed up. That's just, how do they do it, man? Do you know, do you have any insight on how they can take care of themselves like that?
I mean, they're tough guys, It was very impressive. It was an impressive match. But yeah, the way Kevin Owens was kind of, Jenny and I were kind of laughing the way he was selling, because he stayed in that position at the end of the match when he's folded up in the ladder, and he stayed that way for a long time. And it was kind of, do you think it
was really a sell? Do you think he was knocked out?
No, I think he was selling. I think he was just selling it. Because I think there would have been more genuine concern. I mean, there was concern, right, from the officials, but it was clearly acting. You can tell when something's really wrong. I haven't seen that part of wrestling where Owen Hart fell. I wouldn't know if that was real or staged or whatever, because just they turned away from it. Yeah, the cameras were on there. I saw Cody celebrating on the table. I think if he won the belt, he probably would have just left and had medical. So I get that. So, and there's another example though, the attention to detail and character development. There's Cody, the big hero, but even though Kevin Owens looks like he's badly hurt, Cody kind of showing a little bit of a dark side there and celebrating over Kevin Owens and not really showing any concern for his personal well-being, even though he's a good guy. Again, it's so good. It's so good right now. Anybody who used to watch wrestling, who gave up on it, give it another chance. It is so good right now.
I'm getting a lot of heat too. Speaking of wrestling terms, I'm getting a lot of heat. Like, enough of wrestling. Let's hear Matt. Let's hear Matt. We don't want to hear.
Who's saying that? Not a guy from New York City, I think.
No, right? Actually, a guy from Connecticut. Actually, John Monroe. He's one of my biggest fans. Says enough wrestling. Laugh out loud. Let's hear Matt.
Connecticut, a fellow New Englander. Connecticut, the state of my birth.
There you go.
I was born in Hartford.
There you go. We are here with Matt Connarton. He is the host of Matt Connarton Unleashed every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 12 midnight, on all social media.
9 a.m. to noon.
Huh?
9 a.m. to noon. I'm not on till midnight. That would be a very long show.
That would be. You're right. Actually, you're absolutely right. Yeah, nine to noon.
Yes.
I'm so used to talking in PM time because that's when my show is.
Yeah.
9 a.m. to noon
Yes.
every Saturday to wake up, instead of waking up to Bugs Bunny, wake up to Matt Connarton.
That's right.
He's got, I mean, you've turned that show into yapping about politics, to going over house bills, to just a plain interview show. It's been turned upside down. How do you like it now? I mean, do you miss going into debating about politics a lot? Do you miss the banter between you and certain people that call in chronically and stuff like that? Do you miss that, or is that just something that you're, listen, this is beyond me now, and I'm just going to focus on this?
I've had a lot of mixed emotions about this. When we initially made the change, it was not my idea. And I won't say any, well, I mean, I'll just say, it wasn't my idea to make that change, but the station was becoming politicized in a way that wasn't necessarily good for the station. So, after 7 years of doing a format, the old format, for people who don't know, was a lot of politics, a lot of political talk, and with some musical guests sprinkled in. And then there came a point where Jenny offered to do the booking, of the musical guests, which she's very, very good at. She's organized and she communicates well with the guests and everything. So it kind of evolved into the first hour of the show. This was when I was on weekday afternoons, afternoon drive. The first hour would be politics or whatever we were talking about. And then the second hour would be musical guests. And then when we moved to Saturdays, it just became, and again, it wasn't my idea, but I think it's worked out for the best. When we moved the show to Saturdays, now it's all interviews pretty much. Mostly we interview musicians. Occasionally we'll have maybe an author or a comedian or an actor or somebody, but it's mostly just talking to creative people about creative things. And I think it's been good for my mental health, to be honest with you, not talking about politics all the time. I'm still a political junkie. I still love politics, but I think getting away from talking about it on the radio was probably good for me, and it has been good for the show. Our live numbers probably aren't what they used to be, although with radio, it's always hard to know for sure.
Right.
But we're getting far, far more traction with the show online, with the podcast version, with downloads and streams and everything. So it's been good. It's been really good. And a lot of people in the music industry now are paying attention to the show who maybe weren't paying attention to it before. So what we've done now is, so we keep the politics out of the radio version. I occasionally will do a podcast only version of the show, not on any particular schedule where we do politics. For example, we did a post-election show with Eric Pilcher that was strictly online, away from WMNH, podcast only. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think it's been a good thing. And I think it's actually better for me, just mentally, not to be talking about politics 5 days a week. You know what I mean? Was
it dragging you down? I mean, just the whole thing. It's like such a divide going on. It's not even like, 70-30, 80-20. No, this is right down the middle. It's like either you're going to get hated or you're going to get loved. Was it just driving you down to the point of, man, I can't please everybody, and then all of a sudden it's like, why bother pleasing anybody?
I think maybe it was, in a way, just because it's gotten nastier and more polarized than it's ever been. And I think, I mean, for those who don't know, again, if you don't know the history of my show, when we were doing heavy politics, I was trying to do something different in political talk radio, because political talk is heavily dominated by conservatives. And I'm not a conservative. I describe myself as center left, but with a healthy dose of libertarian. I'm a little bit of a square peg, but so I was trying to do something different, but also be very balanced in the sense that I would tell you, the audience, I would tell you what I think, and it was an opinion-based show, but I also would certainly take calls and have guests who had opposing points of view, so everyone had their say on my show. I wasn't just someone trying to, put forth an agenda and that's it. This is what you're getting, but I do think it was affecting me in ways that I was not recognizing in the moment, because again, while it wasn't my decision to make that change and I wasn't necessarily thrilled about it, there was also a sense of relief that came with it. Yeah, does that make sense?
Did you feel that relief like right away? Like after you were off Monday through Friday, you just focused on the Saturday show. You had that first line of guests. Did you feel the relief then, or did it take you a while to get used to it?
No, I felt it pretty quickly. Because it also occurred to me, it was like, okay, so we can focus the show only on positive things, and again, doing creative things with it. But if I want to express myself politically, I still can, just not on the radio. I can turn on my computer and do a podcast anytime I want to. You know what I mean? So when I realized that, it's like, because I think at first I felt like something was being taken away from me, because this change that I didn't ask for, I had to make. So I think I felt like something was being taken away from me. But then, when we started doing the show on Saturdays with no politics, it was kind of like, yeah, it was a relief, because it was like, wait a minute.
You didn't have a weight on your shoulders anymore.
Yeah. And then it's like, if I just talk about politics in a podcast version where it's all on me, where the station isn't involved, if anything, it's actually liberating, because I can say whatever I want without always being worried in the back of my mind, ooh, I hope somebody doesn't hear something they don't like and contact the station and complain, or Matt's doing too much of this, or Matt's being biased, or whatever. No, I can just say whatever I want to and not have to worry about it. And so that was actually kind of liberating. So it's been good.
George Morris made a comment. Politics is definitely a sour topic no matter who folks voted for. There are always going to be different views, in his opinion. I agree. There's always different views. I mean, I think we can collectively say you are not a Trump fan. You are not
correct.
In favor of Donald Trump.
That is
Did
correct.
you really want Kamala Harris to win, or were you kind of hoping that a meteor hit both of their houses or something?
Well, I wanted Kamala to win because that was the only way to avoid Trump. But what I really would have liked would have been for Joe Biden to have done the right thing from the beginning and not run for a second term. But he did the wrong thing and chose to run for a second term, which led to that disastrous debate. And then it was too late to do anything else but make Kamala Harris the nominee. And by the way, I will say this, for the very limited time and resources that she had, because everything was so compressed, I think she did the best she could. But it wasn't enough. But so I'm not happy about Trump, but I'm also not happy about Biden, because in that debate, what we saw, the one debate that Biden and Trump had in 2024, we saw, in my opinion, Biden effectively handing the keys to the White House back to Trump in real time. It was that bad. So, I'm angry at a lot of people, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe had that sense of power to well, why not run? He put himself ahead of the country. He put himself ahead of his own party. I blame, I'm no fan of what the Republican Party has become, obviously, but I also am very upset with the Democrats for not standing up. We talk about how Republicans are terrified to stand up to Trump, and they are, but the Democrats who are also terrified to stand up to Biden and say, Mr. President, you cannot run for a second term. You cannot. Thank you for getting us through the pandemic, but now you have to go, sir. You are too old for this. Thank you and good night. And let's let somebody younger get in there.
And no, he said, no, just watch me. I'm not too old.
Yeah, we watched him have like a mental stroke on the air. It's like
Oh, and I was dreading it.
Bad.
I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah,
I didn't know how bad, but I was dreading that debate.
I mean, I can understand him like maybe saying the wrong answer and like maybe calling Trump Monald instead of Donald or something, or having some type of like some type of mumble mouth going on. Sure. Not that.
Oh, I'll tell you what. After that debate, Charles, I just for the hell of it, I went back and I watched one of their debates in 2020, and different guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even in 2020, Biden, he seemed old and clearly had lost a step or maybe a half a step. But I didn't have any worries. I mean, he just seemed older and slower than he used to be, but not a big deal. But completely different guy from that debate in 2024. It was, the deterioration was even worse than I expected. Oh, what a disaster.
Yeah. How often do you go on live to talk politics? Because I know it's something inside you that it eventually boils to the point of, I got to get rid of this. I have to release this. How often do you go live?
Not often. Not often. Part of it is a function of I've been very, very busy. I've been trying to do a lot of things at once. I'm always trying to do too many things at once. So I haven't had as much time.
What have you been up to?
What's that? Oh, just with continuing to expand the hypnotherapy practice, and also I've got a lot of new clients at IPMNation. I don't know if you know this, but in addition to, we have our streaming and whatnot, but I also take on clients who hire me to do their radio campaigns. So say an independent artist wants to, I specialize in college radio. So say they're looking to get airplay on college radio stations. They hire me to then do a radio campaign where I get them airplay on different stations around the country. So I've been very busy with that. I've always got a lot going on.
Look at you, syndicated to the stars, or syndicated to the future stars, pretty much.
Yes.
Have you I wouldn't say met, but I guess we can go ahead and include met. But have you noticed any up and coming talent that you see making an impact on radio from these college stations?
Oh yeah, Day to Attend, which is a great band from right here in New Hampshire. They've got this great album called Falling Awake that is now playing on a number of college radio stations. And they've been able to make such an impact, and I like to think I've helped them a little bit. They just opened for Ace Frehley at the Aura in Portland, Maine. And I wasn't able to be there because it was on a day that was just hard for me to get away from everything else. But oh my God, the video and the pictures online and everything, and they were direct support. It wasn't like it was them and some other national act and then Ace Frehley headlining. Day to Attend was on right before Ace Frehley.
Nice.
I am so proud of them. And the videos and the pictures online and everything just look amazing. I am so proud of those guys. Day to Attend, daytoattend.com. Check them out online. Great band, and I'm very proud to be working with them.
Now, is that the number 2 or TOO or TO?
TO, day to Attend, yeah.
You got to get that spelling in there, Matt. You got to go ahead and make sure you get, if you're going to say 2, you got to make it number 2 or
That's
2
true.
or TO or TOO or 2 TOO.
That's true. You never know. Yeah.
George has a question here, and if I don't want to dive too much into it because, number one, I'm not an expert on it. So if you want to pass, just like thumb your nose or something like that to me. Okay. George once says, so you wanted Kamala to win. Can I ask why you wanted her to be president based on her accomplishments? What was her credentials?
I wanted Trump to not win. Trump is a felon and a criminal, and he January 6th and all of it. I think Trump is a terrible human being. I think, and now I think Trump is about to destroy the American economy with trade wars, with our allies that don't make any sense, et cetera. I think Trump is a terrible person. I think he was a terrible president, and I didn't want Trump. And
based on what he explains that he's using these tariffs on, do you see any justification at all in regards to why he would do something like this?
No, he's the. Are you familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect, Charles?
No, absolutely not. No, please, you gotta enlighten me on
It's a
this.
study. We're looking at the Dunning-Kruger presidency. The Dunning-Kruger effect. It was a study that was done. These guys did this study that concluded that. Well, basically, here's the gist of it. Stupid people don't know that they're stupid, and
That's right. I don't know.
and when stupid people, what often happens is stupid people convince themselves that they're smart because they're too stupid to know that they're stupid. So they convince themselves that they're smart and that they have expertise in certain areas that they actually have no expertise in. Trump has no idea what he's doing. He is the Dunning-Kruger president. He has no idea what he's doing, but he can tell, MAGA people anything and they believe him and they think that he knows what he's talking about. Find me an economist anywhere who thinks that what Trump is doing makes any sense. A reputable economist. There are none. Nobody thinks this is a good idea except Trump. They'll go along with it. They'll enable him, but nobody actually thinks this is a good idea. There's a reason no other president has ever done this stuff. Picking fights, picking trade wars, wanting to have a trade war with Canada. Canada, which controls 1/4 of our power supply in the United States. Canada literally has the power, if they wanted to turn the lights out in 1/4 of the United States of America. But we're going to pick a trade war. We're going to pick this fight with Canada with these 25% tariffs. It's insanity. This is the kind of nonsense I wanted to avoid. That's why I wanted Kamala Harris to be president.
Gotcha. All right, moving away from that, because I know we get started with this. I'm gonna look like the idiot because I have no idea what politics are going on. All I know is listen. All I know is under Biden. This is the only thing I'm going to say about this. Mm-hmm. Under Biden, our housing has gone up, our rent has gone up, our food costs have gone up. Whether he's had anything to do with it or not,
he didn't.
That's bad. And I'm just saying it happened under his watch. So if he didn't have anything to do with it, okay, fine, so be it. But everybody's going to point out, yeah, it's him. And that was just me. That's me being the naive, stupid person.
No, don't say that.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's me saying, well, this didn't happen under Trump before. But then again, I understood before where there was COVID going on.
Well, yeah.
At the end, there was COVID going on. So gas prices were all-time low because nobody was traveling. So there were other factors that happened. Like, well, take a look at Trump and how low gas prices were. Okay, but look at what was going on during that time as well.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, so now we give him a four-year blanket without COVID. We're getting over it. We're done with it pretty much.
Well, we're done with the pandemic. I don't think we'll ever be done with COVID.
Well, no. It's gone in
with COVID forever.
It's been grouped in with the flu.
I know. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is now. I'm afraid my son may have it. He's had 100, 102 fever today. So
yeah.
Poor kid.
Can I just quickly answer though what you were saying, Charles, about inflation and everything? So inflation is not a problem for the United States. Inflation has been a problem for the world. Globally, inflation was high after the pandemic for reasons having to do with the pandemic. The United States has actually weathered that specific, the post-pandemic hangover of inflation actually better than almost any other modern industrialized nation. In other words, everybody around the world experienced inflation post-pandemic. The United States had the best performance in terms of inflation. In other words, the lowest inflation compared to the rest of the world. So we actually have done very, very well. Part of the problem, though, is so Trump tells all the Republicans, oh, it's all Biden's fault. Meanwhile, the Democrats are I despise both parties. The Democrats are so incapable at communicating anything that they can't even figure out how to explain and how to point out, hey, this has been a problem globally, not just the United States. And we've actually done better with inflation than the rest of the world. They can't figure out how to explain that. because they're such poor communicators, because they are. Democrats are horrendous communicators. So, but anyway, that's my answer to that. It had nothing to do with Biden, but Biden was too old and confused to actually even stand up for himself and say, you know, guys, this has nothing to do with me. He couldn't even figure out how to explain it to people because, you know, he can't figure out how to explain anything at this point.
Yeah. So Matt Connarton joining us live here on the first show back of 2025, or the first show back in a while for the Charles Richardson Show. So Matt, and listen, we've been buddies going back for a few years now, and you know, I appreciate you having me on your show that one time when I drove up there, and you know,
yeah.
It's coming around again. I think April is what, like 3 years now since then, or
yeah. So April, because April will be my 8-year anniversary at WMNH.
Yeah, and I came with when you were 5, so it was going to be 3 years since I bothered you up there.
No, it was great. It was great having you up here. Yeah, that was cool. That was fun.
Moving to a new studio. I've noticed the studio is a little bit more condensed.
It's it's a little bit smaller, but not much though. But it is smaller than the old studio, but it's so much nicer. Everything's new and clean, and we're in our own building now. Because if you remember before.
Yeah, you had to share a building.
Yeah, like the old place, you wouldn't even know. Like if you were on Elm Street looking up, you wouldn't even know there was a radio station in there. Now we're in our own building and the signage and everything, and it's wonderful. I love the new, and you get to park like right there on the property. You don't have to park on the street or in a parking garage, so the parking is much better. Oh, it's wonderful.
Staying at a motel that's across the street and having to walk over.
Yeah.
When are you going to start breaking out an instrument? You have everybody coming in, you know, bringing in drums, congas, and you know the guitars. When are you going to break out an instrument and jam with them?
Yeah, I know. I am a bass player, and I can play a little bit of guitar, but I'm mainly a bass player. But yeah, I haven't picked up a bass in a long time. I think I'm almost afraid to. I'm afraid I'll if I do that, I'll start getting the itch to want to play in a band again. Not that I don't get the itch anyway.
Is that really a bad thing?
No, except it's a lot of work, and I'd have to find. And if I did want to play in a band again, I'd have to find a project I'd be really excited about. You know, I don't want to be in a bar playing "Taking Care of Business" by Bachman Turner Overdrive. I'd want to find something. It would have to be an original project, and I'd have to be excited about it. You know,
go after trying to win a Grammy in bluegrass. I mean, because Beyonce did it with country. You could do it in bluegrass.
I don't have the chops for bluegrass. I'll tell you what, I mean, you know, it's not my favorite kind of music to listen to, but I have immense respect for musicians who play bluegrass. That's not easy.
No, I wouldn't think so.
They're very, very.
Dude, you're over here interviewing musicians. They're singing songs. I mean, they're punking their vocals out for you. Come on, get in there and bass it out with them. Say, well, this is what I know. I mean, come on, man. You got to go ahead. Listen, the one thing I found cool about your show now is that you're a musician interviewing musicians. Regardless if you don't play anymore or if you rarely play anymore, you still know how to play. And you should bring that out in the air. I think that would be entertaining, to be honest with you. Get that bass guitar in there, cue it up to the mixer, and start belting out a couple. Listen, especially if you lost or you say, because I know you say a lot. When you get the chops to say just bass out like a little bit of a bass guitar, and you're all set. You're all set. Everyone else forget about the ums.
When you say that, it reminds me of. I don't think the show still exists. I think it went away a while ago. But Mike Huckabee used to do a show on Fox News, a weekend show, and at the end of the show, he would get up and jam with I don't know. And he's a bass player. It was like the one thing I actually liked about the guy. I don't mean past tense. He's still alive, but he would actually get up.
Well, maybe you don't like him anymore. I don't know. I liked him when he was a bass player. Now I just.
Well, no, I never liked him, but it's the one thing about him I could kind of like is that at least he's a fellow bass player. But he would get up at the end of his show and he would play with this band, and it was like the whitest cover band ever with Mike Huckabee on bass. It was kind of unintentionally humorous to watch. It was like, wow. Okay.
John's got a question here. It says, growing up, did you have a favorite bass player that you looked up to?
Yeah. Well, Gene Simmons is my favorite because Kiss is my favorite band. So Gene would be my number one. Gene is very underrated, by the way. He's actually an excellent bass player. Also, Geddy Lee, big fan of Geddy Lee. Billy Sheehan, big fan of.
Speaking of, I know you're very close to Gene Simmons. How is Gene Simmons from Kiss?
I haven't heard from him lately.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't call me anymore now that we're on Saturdays.
You don't. He doesn't call you, privately to say, "Hey, Matt, Gene Simmons from Kiss. You want to call?"
I would love to make up a story that he does that, but I'm afraid he'll sue me.
Matt Connarton from Matt Connarton Unleashed, bass player, radio host, hypnotherapist. Tell me about that, because you claim that there is so many things that could be cured or remedied or stuff like that from hypnotherapy. Number one, what is it? Because it sounds like a magician's trick, to be honest with you.
Okay. Now, hypnotherapy is really just, it's a form of meditation, essentially. So we actually go into states of hypnosis thousands of times a day and don't even realize it. Anytime that well, here's an example. So say you're driving to work and you drive the same route to work every day. Chances are, while you're driving, you're not consciously thinking about, okay, I'm going to slow down here, I'm going to turn here, I'm going to stop here. If you're like most people, your mind is on 1,000 other things. You're going other places in your imagination while you're driving, because the driving part itself becomes automatic. Believe it or not, that's actually a form of hypnosis, because you're engaging your imagination. You're engaging your subconscious mind and kind of letting your conscious mind go and do its own thing. Anytime that you're very concentrated, very focused on something, maybe you're reading a book or you're watching a movie or listening to music, maybe somebody says your name and you don't even hear them because you're so focused. Your imagination, your subconscious mind is so focused and engaged on whatever it is you're doing that you're not even in your present reality. You're kind of somewhere else in your imagination. That's a form of hypnosis, a form of self-hypnosis. We do this all day long, every day. We just don't realize it. So what I do when I bring you into a state of hypnosis is I take you into a very deep state of relaxation where I'm able to access directly your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind just kind of goes to sleep, but your subconscious mind remains awake and alert. And I'm able to communicate to you, because you're in such a relaxed state, a series of hypnotic suggestions that are going to help you with whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's quit smoking, lose weight, deal with phobias, reduce stress. There's many, many things we can do with it. But by communicating those suggestions to you while you're in a very deeply relaxed state, they become recorded in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious keeps those suggestions active so that they are permanently activated in your subconscious mind. So then when you come out of a state of hypnosis, you don't even have to think about any of it. You don't have to focus on any of it. It's completely automatic in your subconscious mind.
How do you do all this? It's almost like you have like a Jedi mind trick going on there where, you're Han Solo and you just go ahead and it's like, I want to go in this bar. You will give me the drink for free. I mean, it's almost like you do something like that.
Well, here's the thing, though. The truth is, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. I just guide you through the process.
Are you telling me you're a fraud? Wait. Are you telling me you're a fraud?
No. But what I am telling you, because there are a lot of misconceptions about hypnosis. I can't. So, for example, I can't, if I hypnotize you, I can't make you do anything against your will. I couldn't hypnotize you, for example, to go rob a bank and then bring me all the money. That wouldn't work unless you were predisposed to being a bank robber, and a very generous one at that, right? You would immediately. What's that?
That's a couple of factors working against you already. A bank robber and a generous one. No, there's not two of them there.
Right, exactly. So if I give you that suggestion while you're in a state of hypnosis, you're either going to ignore it, or you might even wake up and be like, what did you just ask me to do? So in reality, you're in control the entire time. It's not mind control. Um, and you, while you're in a state of hypnosis, you are free to accept or reject whatever I say to you. But your subconscious mind wants what's best for you. So as long as I say to you things that are helpful and beneficial and positive, your subconscious mind is going to accept those suggestions and record them and make them active. But if I said something to you that didn't make any sense, like if I hypnotized you and I said, Charles, after our session is over here today, never again will you have a craving for chocolate covered ants. Well, I'm guessing you probably don't eat those to begin with. So your subconscious mind would just reject that and ignore it because it doesn't apply to you. You know what I mean?
Now, you could say something like, Charles, after this, you'll never, ever like the taste of McDonald's food again.
Well, that would probably be helpful, wouldn't it?
It would be very helpful. Yes.
And we could do that.
That would be very helpful. Charles, if you go ahead after this session, you will not be angry at a drop of a hat. You will not you will not have any type of paranoia when you're out driving on a suspended license. I get a little detailed, but am I on that?
Yeah, I mean those are all things that can be addressed with hypnosis. Absolutely.
John says he wanted to quit smoking. Do you think this is something that could do it, or is this something like hair treatment where you have to come in like 5-10 times just to go ahead and get a little bit of hair coverage on that bald spot?
So I'll tell you what's interesting about this. When I was first learning, and it's been 20 years now, I can't believe it. When I was first learning to be a hypnotherapist, my instructor, Cindy Kyle Thomas, what she told us in the class was, change, as long as the client really wants to change, it can happen in one session. Do it in one session, as long as that's what the client wants. There is kind of an old school approach that a lot of hypnotherapists still use, which is where they try to sell you on a package. Okay, I have this 6-session package, and at the end of the 6th and final session, you'll be a non-smoker, that type of thing. And hypnotherapists who approach it that way, it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's not that they're trying to rip you off or anything like that. It's just an old school way of doing it. But what we have learned, and this is what Cindy Kyle Thomas explained to us, is that you really can make meaningful, massive change in one session as long as the client is motivated. So for example, with quitting smoking, which by the way is the number one thing that clients come to me for, and this is probably true for every hypnotherapist out there, this is the number one thing, is to quit smoking. And I work with a lot of musicians, by the way, and musicians tend to very often are smokers. Not always, but yeah, you can help someone to quit smoking in one session. And I believe it is the easiest way to quit. I do hear good things about acupuncture. Some people go to vaping and then eventually they quit vaping. There are other ways to quit. But I do believe hypnotherapy is the easiest way, the fastest way. And yes, we can do it in one session.
Okay, there you go, John. You can quit smoking in one session.
Yeah.
George does have a couple of things here. Number one, he asks, is hypnosis a medical cure that can heal somebody? Like, for instance, he has an example. His ex-wife is dealing with pancreatic issues, throwing up, losing a lot of weight. Can you help her keep her food down?
So the short answer would be no, because you can't. I mean, hypnosis isn't a cure. I would shy away from even using the word cure at all, because with hypnosis, we address things, and I can help you to address things that are going on mentally, but it's not really a cure for anything in the traditional way that we would think of that we would use that term. So I can't help you with medical things using hypnosis. However, I might be able to. So if say, for example, someone has a medical issue, but they're trying to control how their body reacts to that medical issue, maybe they have pain and they want to reduce pain. Hypnosis can be helpful for reducing pain reduction. Or maybe in the example given here, I might be able to give a hypnotic suggestion to someone that when they're experiencing pancreatic, some sort of pancreatic discomfort or whatever is causing, something to come up, we might be able to address that where perhaps the client, we can get them to react differently to that so that they're not having that problem. But I don't want to mislead anybody. It's not something that can be a cure for some sort of health issue, but it may be helpful in terms of managing how one is reacting and experiencing that health issue.
So maybe not considered a cure. Would you say treatment better?
Well, I'm more comfortable with the word treatment generally, yes, but I wouldn't want to present it as even a treatment for a medical issue, but rather something that might be able to assist in helping how the client experiences that medical issue and how they react to it. Again, going back to, for example, hypnosis can be useful in pain reduction. But again, I wouldn't want to present it as a treatment for, I certainly wouldn't want somebody, for example, to stop taking their medication and say, I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to try hypnosis instead. You want to stay on whatever medication is prescribed by your doctor. I might be able to help you with some of the pain you're experiencing, but you always want to, and I say that because, some people, they get into this holistic medicine, which I do think has value, but you always want to do whatever your doctor tells you to. And if you're thinking about introducing hypnosis for helping you with a physical malady, I would suggest talk to your doctor about it and ask your doctor, do you think that this is something I should explore, maybe as another tool in the toolbox to help me manage this problem that I'm having, this health issue that I'm having?
Is it well received out there in the public, like hypnosis, or is it considered? See, when I first heard of it, I'm over here thinking. When I first hear of hypnosis, what I'm thinking of is I'm on stage in front of like 150 people in a bar, and I'm being hypnotized to cluck like a chicken, and do something kooky on stage, and I'm being told what to do, and I don't even know I'm doing it. So you're telling me this is nothing. I mean, number one, you told me you don't have any control over me of something I don't want to do. I mean, unless I do want to cluck like a chicken, or anyway, that's beside the point. But I'm just saying. So you don't have any control of anybody's brain. You're basically just kind of being the leader of.
Yeah.
Listen, you coming to me, you come to me saying that you want to do something. I want to quit smoking. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Jedi mind trick you, and you're going to put your conscious to sleep, subconscious awakes, and I'm going to basically recode your computer inside your brain where it's going to say, you do not want that cigarette. And if you take that cigarette and light it up, you're going to throw up or something like that. It's just not going to be you anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, you could probably hypnotize me to like onions, maybe, because I hate onions. I hate it. Or maybe you can hypnotize somebody to like pineapple on pizza. I'm just saying.
I would have, I would have an ethical qualm about hypnotizing someone to like pineapple on pizza because, as I'm sure you've heard me say, Charles, I'm not myself a religious man, but I do believe that pineapple on pizza is a sin against God.
Then I've sinned many times, my friend, and I'm going straight to hell. Which I hope they have good thin crust down there because it's going to be hot. So
they don't.
Matt, officially, where can somebody find you now? First off, before you reveal that sacred piece of information, which everybody, all the single people that are listening on here right now, 5 or 6 people, whatever. Number one, can anybody do this even remotely? Like, I think you and I have talked at one point in time, and because I'm a broke SOB, I couldn't afford you, but we could have done it virtually over the computer, right?
Oh, we still can, anytime you want. But so I do see clients in person, obviously, in the area that I'm in, but during the pandemic, I had always been. There were other hypnotists already doing remote sessions online. I had always resisted it, but then the pandemic happened and it's like, Oh, yeah. No. And I have asthma, right? So I was particularly careful, being someone high risk. So I finally embraced it, and I started using a service called Doxy.me, which is a service that a lot of people use. A lot of therapists use, to see clients online and so forth.
Yeah,
So I
my
what's that?
therapist actually used the same thing. So yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're familiar with it. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's basically like a Zoom meeting, um, so I started doing sessions online, and I was kicking myself for being so resistant to it for as long as I was, because it actually works really well. Personally, my preference is always to see a client in person, for the same reason that when I interview people, I always like it better if they're in studio with me than having to do it via Skype or on the phone or whatever. But it is a great way to do sessions remotely, and finally, not being so stubborn and embracing it has allowed me to do sessions with people from anywhere in the United States. Or I haven't done any intercontinental sessions yet, but yeah, I can do a session with anybody anywhere, really.
Do you find is it just as effective virtually, or do you find it in person more effective?
What I've realized is it can be effective either way, because it really counts on what it hinges on. It's not the setting that matters the most. What it hinges on is the client motivated to change. As long as the client is motivated and they're prepared to really make this change, that's the most important thing. So the setting is ultimately very much secondary, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. All right, there's Matt Connarton. He is a radio host in New Hampshire, Manchester to be exact.
Yes.
95.3 FM, WMNH. Every Saturday, Matt Connarton Unleashed from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, not midnight, 9 a.m. to noon. It's a 3-hour show. Great bands come in, independent bands, local to New Hampshire. Actually, some even beyond, because you do Skype. And
Oh yeah.
so you do Skype out there.
Yep.
Definitely listen to him. He's great on the radio. Says
Thank you.
a little bit more often than I've caught him on that, but it's I think
I
less
knew
now
you're right.
because he's actually doing interviews. Hypnotherapist, bass player, but we got to bring that bass guitar in the studio. Come on, man. You got to go ahead, at least have it standing by, just in case you feel the need to do a riff, like as soon as you come out of commercial.
Right.
Let's just get it on there. Come on. I think that's going to be great.
I'll
And
think about it.
yeah. And like I said, hypnotherapist, where can they find you on the internet?
The best place to go is mattconnerton.com. And for the spelling impaired, well, I shouldn't even say that, because people just generally have hard time with my last name. It's Connarton, mattconnerton.com. Matt with 2 T's, mattconnerton.com.
All right. So yeah, make sure you go ahead and visit that. I actually already went ahead and spelled your name on the freaking little bottom third over there. So yeah, I put ERTR on. So
perfect. Thank you.
that's okay. MattConnarton.com. Make sure you go and visit them. But get a session booked. John, I'm looking at you, man. You need to quit smoking. Go ahead and get a session booked. He can go ahead and make you put down those 305s for a long time.
Absolutely.
Matt Connarton, thank you again for being on the show. Hopefully we can do this again another time. This next time, though, we're gonna have you jam a session to something from Kiss. I think we should do that.
Oh,
honestly,
maybe a little Love Gun. That's got a fun bass line.
There you go. I listen. You picked the song. I just want to hear you jam.
All right. Fair
Speaking
enough.
of jam, we're gonna go ahead and cut out here with a song from Parskill right here on the Charles Richardson Show. We'll be back after this.